Eagles Entertainment.
Welcome, Eagles everywhere, to the Eagles Insider Podcast, presented by Lincoln Financial Group. Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro with you as we get into the month of May. The NFL schedule coming out in just a day or so. We're excited to see what that means for this very uncertain 2020 season. Hope everyone is healthy and safe and doing the right things out there as the country starts to reopen. And that is an optimistic thing as the weather turns warmer and we start thinking about the 2020 Eagles season. With that, our Eagles Insider Podcast here, well, we've got a great one for you. We're going to take a look back at a memorable game in our Eagles flashback. Back in December of 2013, the Detroit Lions came to Lincoln Financial Field and it turned into, the Snow Bowl. The Eagles beating the Lions 34-20. We're going to recreate that game for you right here as the weather turns warmer and we can think about football. But to begin this Eagles Insider Podcast, we get exclusive one-on-one Carson Wentz in this offseason. We've met with him a while ago. We didn't talk football. It was more about doing work in the community to help those in need during this global pandemic. Now we're talking football, and we're talking fatherhood, and we're talking the last time we talked to Carson was before the Eagles played in the postseason game against Seattle. Wentz did not make it through that game, lasting just 9 snaps before a Jadeveon Clowney hit sent him off the field.
The Eagles have lost so many players this season, but the one guy they cannot afford to lose is their quarterback.
Boy, that's some of the worst news you could possibly hear, that Carson Wentz has a chance that he may not be back in this game.
And a new quarterback came into play.
And it will be Mccown coming into the game. Josh Mccown, in his 17th year, 40-year-old quarterback, has played for too many teams to name before they snap the football.
Ultimately, it was not enough, and the Eagles' season ended. Wentz, though, is healthy. He's happy. Just 1 week ago, he became a father. So we talk about all of that as well as the Eagles draft of 2020, which everybody has talked about. So here we go, one-on-one with number 11, Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. Time now to bring in Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, who I haven't spoken to since before he and his wife Madison had the beautiful Hadley Jane Wentz, 8 pounds, 2 ounces on April 27th. Carson, congratulations, and give me the scouting report on everything that happened during that experience.
Yeah, it was truly remarkable. Honestly, probably the most incredible day of my life, just seeing my wife be, the rock star that she was, to finally meeting that sweet little girl. And it's truly a miracle, and seeing, God's creation come to life like that. And it's been something that we cherish already, and finally starting to get into a little groove with our 1-week-old little girl. So it's truly been a blessing, and we've loved every second of it.
All right, Carson, the big question, of course, is, have you changed diapers?
Oh, yeah. Changed plenty. I'm like a seasoned vet already.
It really is a wonderful thing. Do you feel like an instant your life has changed moment when she's born?
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those things, I think both my wife and I, like the second we saw her and she was, laying on mom's chest, it's just like, you're just in awe. You're kind of just shocked at this is our little girl. She's ours. And so, life's definitely changed, and we knew that. We've been preparing for that, and we're pretty pumped about it.
Congratulations to both of you on that, and enjoy every moment of it. It goes very quickly. Carson, before we get into football, obviously we've got this global pandemic happening, and I know that the Audience of One Foundation has a special day on Friday. Can you tell us a little bit about that day? It's called the AO1 Day of Relief. What exactly is that?
Yeah, so the AO1 Day of Relief is our substitute for the softball game. Unfortunately, given the circumstances that we're all living in right now, we had to cancel the softball game, which not only was a ton of fun for all the guys every year, but also was a big fundraiser for our foundation to give back and support the local community and other communities as well. But right now we've been participating in what we call the Love from the Crumb initiative through AO1 through our food truck, and we've been distributing lots of groceries and essentials. I think we've done approximately 1,700 grocery boxes. Each box weighs about 13 pounds, I believe I was told, and so it's got all your ingredients to make some meals, some quick snacks, some paper towels, some of the essentials, and we've been distributing those to all sorts of areas in need, people on the front lines, hospitals, fire departments, those that are in need from school kids and just different things. And so it's been really cool to see the support we've gotten and to see the feedback we've gotten from the people that are receiving these boxes and how truly cherished and valued they feel in those moments in this, during this time of crisis.
Okay, great stuff. And fans can get involved in Friday's event by doing what?
Yes, so they can go to ao1foundation.org and you can find ways to not just give back, but there'll be lots of things through our social media pages, with giveaways and auction items from me and from my teammates, and some just unique things that people can bid on and win, but also just donate and support really the local Philadelphia community and surrounding areas. It's just our way of challenging people and fans and everyone all over to get involved and give back to the local area out there in Philly. And so it's a special day, and for us it's our way of substituting the softball game and still trying to rally behind a cause and give back to the area out there.
Carson, as we look now and pivot toward 2020, the Eagles very busy in free agency, largely dealing with the defensive side of the ball. We talked about that when we last spoke. And then on draft weekend, adding 3 wide receivers in the draft, trading for Marquise Goodwin. How do you feel about this influx of weapons around you with this Eagles offense?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Obviously, I think there's no denying it. Everyone, go turn on the tape or go see the additions that we added. There's a bunch of speed there. I've seen jokes about, we got a full track team now. So I'm excited to get to work with these guys and really see their speed come to life out on the field and how we can use some of these guys. And unfortunately, we're a little hand-tied right now with what we're able to do and how we're able to get together with guys as a team. But whenever that day comes, I'm excited to finally get back out there and see how we can use all of these new weapons, as well as the reliable guys that we've had, and be creative on offense this year.
Carson, I know that we're in a virtual off-season program, so in terms of developing chemistry or adding guidance or so forth with these young players, particularly Jalen Reagor, the first-round draft pick, how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, it's definitely tough, and there's really no right or wrong formula for how you can do that. For me right now, it's just simply trying to stay in touch with him and text with him and talk with him. But over these next few weeks, as we get more into the virtual program and the rookies are able to get more involved with meetings and all of that stuff, that'll pick up. And it's a feeling out process. I mean, everyone around the league is feeling this out and how we can make best use of our time that we do have through virtual meetings and virtual training and everything. So nothing can fully replace being together and being in a building and working on the field and everything, but we're going to try and do the best we can, and whenever that time comes that we're able to get on the field, we're gonna hit the ground running.
So with Jalen Reagor, Carson, have you watched film of him? Do you have a sense of what he might be able to add to this passing game?
Absolutely. I'm really excited. I see a very explosive playmaker with the ball in his hands, for one, on screens and underneath things, and how he can take a 2, 3, 4 yard pass and take it the distance. Obviously, you've seen the punt returns and just how explosive he is with the ball in his hand. But then, what gets me excited is his downfield passing or pass catching ability. It's a tough trait to find some days in guys that can really just track a football and are really dynamic down the field. And that's something that jumps out on his tape and his ability to go up and high point a ball for being not the tallest guy, and just the way he can track footballs and get by defenders, deep down the field, is really what gets me most excited.
Carson, you know that people want to know your thoughts here on the 53rd selection overall in the draft from Oklahoma, Jalen Hurts, a quarterback. What was your reaction at the time of the selection? And now that it's sunk in a little bit, you've had time to think about that. How do you feel about adding a quarterback that early in the draft?
Yeah, I mean, he's my teammate, and I'm excited to get to work with him. I've heard nothing but great things about Jalen, and I've gotten a chance to talk to him a little bit here and there. And I know for him it's tough just being in the off season. And I know my rookie year there was so much to learn, and I needed every rep and every meeting that I could. And now obviously he's missing a lot of that, so I know it's tough there, and I feel for him a little bit there. But he'll get up to speed as best he can, and I'm excited to get to work with him. And the same way I've always been excited to work with the other quarterbacks that are always in our room. So, I trust Howie and the rest of the staff to always make the best decisions for the team. And, I believe I showed my trust in them when I signed a long-term deal to be here. So I think if I started questioning things now, I would really be questioning myself too. So I trust their decisions that they make are in the best interest of this team. And, I feel confident with what they're doing.
Speaking of that quarterback room, Carson, you are now the elder statesman of that room for the first time in your career. And I wonder what that means to you, if it changes anything with the way you approach the game each day or relate to the other quarterbacks in the room.
Yeah, I don't think it really changes anything for me. Going into last year, I thought I was about to be the elder statesman in the room. And then obviously Josh was a late addition, and Josh was, amazing to have as a teammate and as a backup and everything. But got a little taste and a glimpse of what that looks like before he got there, and I feel good with it. I think I don't really care if we got rookies in there or 40-year-old men like Josh. As long as we can all create a really healthy working environment that's competitive, that's uplifting, that's challenging, and we all get along, and just it's all for the betterment of the team, for the city. I'm excited with who's ever in there, and I know we're gonna do some big things together.
Carson, this offseason program, it is all virtual. So how do you become a better quarterback? How do you prepare for the 2020 season? How do you balance being a new father with the idea that you're in such a strange new football environment?
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely tough. I got myself a couple nets to throw to. So instead of throwing to receivers all the time, I'm going to be throwing a little more to nets. But everyone around the league and around the country is dealing with the same problem right now. And so it's how do you find a way to stay on top of your strength and conditioning, and then mentally stay sharp. And, it looks different for every position, but for me, I got to stay active, throwing the ball and being out on the grass. And, we all got to be creative in how we do that and how we find ways to. But I'm confident in my ability, and I've talked to a lot of my teammates and seen what they're doing, and I feel that we're in a really good place. You can't fully replace the time on the grass together that we're going to be missing, but I know guys are getting their work in and staying in shape. And like I said earlier, when we all do get back together, we're going to hit the ground running, and I'm quite confident in that.
So all of this, it doesn't change the goals that you have, whatever you set out to achieve in the offseason, those goals remain?
For sure. I think, it's one of those things, obviously you try and build up your offseason program to get you to the end of April when you report for, OTAs and OSPs and all of that stuff. And now that's just changed. Now we're kind of now we're building up to whenever we get back together. We're not really sure. Training camp's usually in July, but we're still we're doing OTAs. They just look different. So for me, the physical demand of the build-up and the progression in the off-season really doesn't change all that much. It just looks different. Your environment looks different, and the way you go about it is a little different. But getting the work in, the workload, that doesn't change.
And then finally, Carson, I wonder, do you go in here, is your mindset that there's going to be a full 2020 NFL season? Do you kind of not try to think that far in advance? I mean, how do you approach this idea of a season from a mental standpoint?
Yeah, mentally I'm approaching it like we got a regular season coming up. I realize where we're at in the world, And I'm not the one that's going to be making decisions. Are we playing? Are we not? Are there fans? Are we not? All those things. That's out of my control. So for me, I can control what I can control, and that's getting myself ready for, late July to report for training camp and doing everything I can right now to be ready for that. And we'll let the cards fall where they may and as they may. But, I'm hoping and I'm praying that we're out there having a season, that we got fans in the stands and all of that. But, time will tell, and only God knows right now.
Carson, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you again. Good luck with everything. Keep changing those diapers and enjoy every single minute of it. Congratulations once again.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave.
Great stuff there from Carson. And now we turn back the clock in this Eagles flashback.
The ball is spotted. The kick is away. And the kick is good!
It was December 8th, 2013, and it looked like it would just be any December Sunday. The Detroit Lions were in town. The Eagles were in their first season with Chip Kelly at the helm. And then it all turned crazy. Mother Nature had its way. And the Eagles and the Lions played in a snowstorm. The Eagles eventually winning the game, a crazy one. Maryland Mike in the booth could not believe what they were seeing.
If you brave the elements and came to this game, you are being rewarded. You will never forget this.
See, a lot of those plays, Merrill, that are in the playbook, they were not designed for these conditions. So I think you have to get away from a lot of what's in the playbook and just go very simple. If you get off coverage on the outside, give it to your wide receiver. Let him pick up 4 yards or 6 yards. But you've got to keep it simple. And really, you have to get away from a lot of the things that you expected to do coming into this football game.
That came as the aftermath of Nick Foles' first interception of the season.
At the end of the day, the Eagles had 24 points scored in the fourth quarter. They raised their record to 8-5. They won their fifth straight game, and they took over sole possession of first place in the NFC East. And it was a day for Shady McCoy, who just could not be stopped. For McCoy, it was the first time in snow, and it was bad. It was also great.
Actually playing all my football in Pennsylvania, this was the worst game I ever played in, weather-wise.
It also seems like you like
the best game, too.
McCoy ended up rushing for 217 yards, 29 carries, 2 touchdowns, and the rest of his teammates amazed. Brent Selleck chipped in with 2 catches, 29 yards, and a big slide into the snow. And yeah, he had a lot of fun watching McCoy carve up the Lions.
Dude, I'm telling you, it was insane. There's like, sometimes it felt like 8 inches on the ground in some spots. I mean, when you would step, you couldn't even touch the grass. So the fact that he was doing that, I mean, it's crazy. They're going to be talking about that game forever.
Deshaun Jackson, 4 catches, 59 yards, and for a Southern California kid, playing in the snow was something special.
It's just something like you dream about being a kid, being from California. It's sunny all the time, barely raining. But as a kid growing up, I used to dream like, man, one day playing some snow, have fun, slide around, just do crazy things.
Even for Kelly, he said the players were just like little kids out there frolicking in the white stuff.
They had a lot of fun. They kind of probably went back to when they were little kids running around out there. It was interesting just for me just to see how those guys were excited about playing in it. And I thought our fans were, I don't know if I would have been sitting out there, I can tell you that, but they were awesome.
Quarterback Nick Foles had some trouble holding on to the football. He fumbled once, struggled a bit throwing the ball, 11 of 22, 179 yards, and a touchdown. Remember, that was the 27-2 year. For Foles, it was just about managing the offense and waiting for the historic fourth quarter.
Going into this game, facing adversity in the first half, facing the elements of the snow and all that, I think it was just a big win because it does allow us to grow together as a team because we went through all this together and we were able to stay on the right path and continue to motivate each other, and nobody wavered from what we knew we could accomplish.
And that will do it for our Eagles flashback, as well as this episode of the Eagles Insider Podcast. I'm Insider Dave Spadaro. Thanks so much to Peter Kelly and Ray Doyle for their great work putting it all together. And thanks to you for joining us each and every week. If you have a moment to drop us a 5-star rating, we would appreciate it very much. On Monday, we've got a great one for you. We're going to go inside football administration. Jake Rosenberg, the Vice President of Football Administration, joining us. We're going to dig deep into the salary cap, the new CBA, everything that happened just before free agency and COVID-19 changed our world. Thanks for joining, everyone. Have yourselves a great Eagles day, and fly, Eagles, fly.
E-A-G-L-E-S.